Garden Business, lecture number 8 and 9. Today we're going to study about what stakeholders are, the categories of stakeholders, a matrix, Venn-Rose matrix, with some examples, and what conflicts there are in an organization. What are the conflicts between different stakeholders? Now we'll see what a stakeholder is. Stakeholder is an individual or a group who has an interest in what the organization does, or who affects or can be affected by the organization's actions. Now we see when we have to identify who is our stakeholders, who is going to affect our organization or be affected by our organization, we need to understand it through a process, and it is like understanding the needs of different stakeholders. What is their interest in our organization? What do they expect from our organization? It is then when we know what interest and expectations they hold from our organization that will identify either they are our stakeholders or they are not. So we have different categories of stakeholders. The first one is internal stakeholders, external stakeholders, and the third one is connected stakeholders. Now, we have a general perception with the heading internal stakeholders. We have a general understanding, general perception that internal stakeholder will be a group of individuals who are internal to the organization within the boundary, and external will be outside the boundary, and connected will see how are they connected with the organization. Internal stakeholders are intimately associated to the organization, and their objectives are likely to have a strong influence on how the business is run. Now, you see, we discussed in the definition of, we discussed in it that how are they important? What are the two things that make a stakeholder is the interest and expectation. Now you see, we have said that they have a strong influence on how a business is run. We'll discuss about the examples, which category we fall in internal stakeholders. The external stakeholders are those individuals or group that do not have a direct link to the organization, but they can influence our organization, or maybe that they can be influenced by our activities. As an organization, we can have an influence on their activities. Connected stakeholders are basically those stakeholders that have a contractual link, contractual relationship with the organization. They either invest in or have direct dealings with the firm, with the organization. Now we'll discuss about the examples. Internal stakeholders are those stakeholders that have a strong influence, and they are the employees and management. Employees are carrying out our day-to-day business activities. They are supervising, they are managing, they are actually doing our work. Management is the tactical level, how our activities controlled, how our activities and resources managed so that the organization achieves its goals. So the internal will have only two stakeholders. They are management and employees. You can also remember it with the mnemonic ME, me. M for management and E for employees. To just to have an idea, you can remember it with this mnemonic. The external ones are those that are external to the organization, that they are separated to a boundary, but they have an influence, or they can influence us, or we can influence them. For example, government, the pressure groups, the local community, the trade unions. Whatever you are doing, whatever your business is, you can have an impact, or they can have. For example, government policy, if any government policy increases, taxation rules change, occurs, you get affected by them. Or if your business is not performing well, and you're not paying taxes accordingly, then the government has an impact. But basically, government is a powerful stakeholder. Anything, any policy or there any action can have an influence on your business. If you're a if you have a construction company, you're constructing a um, shopping mall in a residential area, maybe that pressure, maybe some people come, maybe those pressure groups come to you and don't let you construct anything, just to preserve the area. Then what happens? You're affected by their influence. Local communities, similarly, local communities can have an influence, and trade unions, trade unions protect the employees and their rights. So if any of your policy changes and the employees don't like it, they directly go to the trade unions and fight for their rights. So they have an influence, they have a powerful influence, and they can change your decisions, they can change any decision through their influence. Now, what are connected stakeholders? Connected stakeholders, wherever the word connected comes, that means there is a contractual link, there is a connection between your organization and them. So they are the shareholders. The shareholders have invested in the money. They have a contractual link. You're supposed to pay the dividends. You're supposed to maximize their wealth. Customers have a contractual relationship. The suppliers have a contractual relationships. And the most importantly, finance providers, the banks have a relationship. They provide you with the loan facilities, investments, they provide you with many other facilities. So they are your connected stakeholders. Now we have another category of categorizing stakeholders. Firstly, we have distinguished between internal, external, and connected. But sometimes the examiner asks in a different category. He asks in a primary and secondary stakeholders. Now, primary the primary stakeholders have a contractual relationship, or they are just the internal stakeholders. So if the primary stakeholders category is mentioned, you should know that they are those stakeholders that are close to the organization. They have a contractual link. They have the internal categories: the employees, management, the shareholders, the customers, the suppliers, and the finance providers come in the primary category. So you can always remember that internal and connected ones are the primary, and the secondary ones are those that have no contractual link with the organization, such as the public. All those stakeholders that are coming in the external category: government, pressure groups, local community, trade units, public, that is also known as secondary stakeholders. So by the end of this lecture, you should have a clear mind that the categories are just interlinked. The primary stakeholders has internal stakeholders and connected ones. The secondary one is just the external category. So you should remember it with examples that who fits in the category. Now we'll discuss that how do we know which stakeholder is powerful? Which stakeholder can affect us and whom we can affect? When we'll identify the power, we will see the interest and the ability. Okay, so influence is always the product of power and interest. Interest is how much the stakeholder cares, how much they have a concern in our organization, and power is basically the ability to influence objectives. You know what objectives are? They are those things that are moving towards achievement of goals. However, this model, whenever any framework, any model comes, it is a general way of thinking, it is a general way of calculating any outcome. It is not 100%, it is not always 100%, because there are so many different things. Some businesses in Asia will be different, businesses in Europe will be different, so everything does not 100% apply on every scenario, but we try to have clear orientation. We try our best to understand it in the most appropriate way. So what power is the ability to influence the objectives. Interest is how much they care about the organization, and influence is the product of power and interest. See, now you see, how does power come? How do you determine the stakeholders' power? The hierarchy. You remember the Robert Anthony's pyramid, the strategic level, the tactical level, the operational level. Where is that employee, or where is that management employee coming from? If he's on the top of the hierarchy, that means the power is stronger one. What what is the source of power? Is it formal? Is it informal? Is it an individual or a group? If it is an individual at the operational level, his power will be very low. But if he's coming with a group, if he's coming through trade unions, then that means power is increasing step by step. So you will have a clear understanding that where is it coming in the hierarchy. Is it an individual or is it a group? Is it coming with an internal source or an external source? For example, if I am an employee, I have a problem, I will gather my other colleagues and then ask a trade union to take an action. So I will become a powerful stakeholder. Whereas if I was only to complain as an individual, I would not be powerful one. The second one is influence, the personal qualities. Am I an important person? Can I have an influence through my personal qualities? These are all factors are just judgments. You have to see what actually is existing. Okay. And the control of the environment, knowledge, contact, and influence of the environment can be a source of power if they are able to reduce the uncertainty experienced by others. Now we see, this is the Mendelow's matrix. The examiner, it's the one of the most favorite topic where examiner always asks questions. Now see, we have power on the vertical axis, and we have level of interest at the horizontal axis. Okay. So what is actually going on? Power becomes low and high. If I'm an individual, if I'm an ordinary person, then my power will be low. But if I'm skilled person, my power will be high. If I'm a, in a group, my power will be high. So this is just an example of low and high powers and the interest that we categorize as low and high. So if my power is low and the level of interest that I have in the organization is low, that means that the organization will have a minimal effort on me. Who am I? I'm a stakeholder. But so we were discussing that if my interest is low and my power is low, what my organization will do is have a minimal effort. They won't be bothered. They won't care about my concerns a lot. And similarly, if my power is low, but my level of interest is high, I'm an unskilled worker. My interest is to have safety of job, to have the company operated for some benefits. Then my interest is high, but I'm not a powerful one. So what will an organization do? They'll just keep me informed about the decisions. They will always just come up a little bit from minimal effort to keep me informed. This is just the progress. They will step me from A quadrant to B quadrant. Now what's going? I am a powerful stakeholder of an organization. I'm a director of the company, but my level of interest is low. For example, I'm just saying it as an example that my power is high, but my level of interest is low. So what is going? I'm just satisfied. My organization will just keep me satisfied. They will give me dividends. They will give me what I expect, but I'm not as much interested. So as a as a director, as a shareholder, sorry, let's take it as a shareholder, my power is high, but what I expect is my dividend should come. So what my organization will do is keep me satisfied, but my power is high and my interest is high. I'm making the strategies. I'm working for an organization. I have a high power through my hierarchy, through my post, through my work, job nature. So what is it? I will be the key player. Okay, you got it? It will be like key players. Now who's coming in the minimal effort, keep informed, keep satisfied, key players? See, the employees, suppliers, occasional customers who have just little interest. They can switch you anytime. They have low power, so they are just the occasional customers. But yes, if you are a major customer, then your power will increase. It will come into the next quadrant. See, here it comes, loyal customers. We Their power is low, but their level of interest is high. So they will always come to you, they will always purchase their items from you, so their interest will be high, but their power is the low one. So they will come in the loyal customers. Then most suppliers come in the high, keep informed level. Most employees and minor directors, there is a category, the directors, which are those they have power, those they are involved in the strategy, involved in the setting of objectives. They are major directors, but the minor ones come in high interest but low power. So they will be in the quadrant number to keep informed. Then comes the high power and low interest. For example, the government. They have a very high power. Their decisions can affect us, but their interest is not so high. They have low interest. They are concerned with the taxes. They are concerned with their basically they are concerned with the taxes. Most institutional shareholders, those who have invested to get a return, to get an interest, the banks, they are focused on receiving their interest. So what is it? That their power is high, but their interest is just limited to a specific thing, just to receive back taxes, interests. So the company will have to keep them satisfied with whatsoever their concerns is. By giving taxes, by giving interest, they will have to keep them satisfied. But now comes the key players. The key players are the ones who have high power and high interest. The ones, the CEO, chief executive officer, the chairman of the company, the major branded suppliers. Why we have mentioned key players as major branded suppliers? Because those brands cannot switch to every supplier they want to switch to. They have limited number of suppliers, and their power is very high and their level of interest is high, because they are producing that thing specifically for our organization, and we are buying from them only. So their business is through us, and we have the supplies through them. So if they don't provide us with quality material, then we will be affected. They have high power, so we have to keep them close. We have to keep them as key players. Okay, now you can read out these categories. what happens in minimal effort, that they are largely ignored. Although this does not take into account any moral or ethical consideration, there's nothing wrong in it. There's no moral or ethical consideration, but still they are the ignored ones. And then we have the keep informed, low power, high interest. They can increase their overall influence by formalizing coalition with other stakeholders in order to exert a greater pressure and thereby make themselves more powerful. So we have to keep them informed. We have discussed about it, so you can just go through these slides, and if you don't understand anything, please just give me a text. Let me know wherever there is any problem. You can text me on my personal number that I have texted you. The high power, low interest stakeholders need to become influential is to reawaken their interests. Okay. If you want any stakeholder that wants to move from one quadrant to another, they have to increase their influence, their power. Okay. And then comes the key players. They are the highest influence holders. The map is now we'll just discuss it, that as I've mentioned that every business has their own circumstances, their own preferences. So this map is not static. Changing events can mean that stakeholders can move around the map, just as I was at the operational level. But this year I got promoted. So what really happens is that my power will increase. So I will move around the map. Okay. So this is all about it. Now what happens is an organization can have many different stakeholders and many different types of needs, but there are some conflicting needs. Like there can be a conflict between one stakeholder and another. The example is employees versus managers. What are the conflicts? They can have job wages versus bonus. For example, the manager will want to save the costs, whereas the employees will want to work a lot more to achieve bonuses. So what is it? It is just a cost efficiency conflict. The employees will expect rewards in return of the work, and the manager will want to save costs. So this is just the conflict. The customer versus shareholders. Now the customers want the product quality, the service level, they want it to be the best, but the shareholders want larger profits, more dividends. When you're providing quality, then you have costs that you bear, and when you bear costs, the profit decreases. For example, you were producing a unit for $10 and the cost was $6. So your profit would be $4, but your customers want quality. So now you're producing the unit for $10, but the cost is coming as $8. So your profit will decrease by $2. So what happens is customers want to pay lesser amount for maximum quality. These are just the conflicts. General public versus shareholders, the environmental issues that we are producing, we are constructing a shopping mall, but the general public near them, they don't want traffic, they don't want the environment to harm. So this is just there. These are just the simple type of conflicts. Managers want growth, managers want independence, whereas shareholders want maximization of profits. So this is an interesting chapter of F1, but please give a look on all the slides, and if you don't understand anything, please let me know, whatever it is. Thank you.